Remember, tithe means tenth. And just from my own personal story as a person, and I'm not saying that follow me, I'm just telling you this is how I've lived my life. I started tithing when I was a teenager because I went to church and they said we have to tithe. And basically it was Levitical, but the pastor was sincere and preached it, and I felt, well, it's a good principle. And so I've always tithed from when I was a teenager. But I determined that I would always give more than 10%. And from when I was a young Christian, my ambition has been to give 90% of my income and live on 10%. For that to happen, you need to make a lot of money. So I'm still working on it. But I have never given 10%. I've always given more than 10%. Always. There have been times I've given 100%. There are times I've given 50%. Sometimes I give 80%. Sometimes 25%, but never 10%. 10%, I don't want to be a Pharisee. I don't want to be a Pharisee. I just want to be a Christian. And my righteousness must exceed that of the Pharisees. So as a young person, I made that promise to myself, and I've kept it up to now. Whether I earn money as a businessman or whatever I do, I give. And I give more than 10%. All right. So that's just me. But it's a good example, I believe. So I don't really emphasize on tithe, because tithe simply means tenth, and for me it's too low. So the second question, is the tithe our highest standard for giving? No. The tithe is the minimum standard for the New Testament Christian. If you are learning to give, you start with 10%. That's how you learn. I'm a newborn believer. I just received Christ last week. I want to give offering. What should I do? 10%. As I mature in Christ and I know how to worship and speak in tongues, 15. Well, he owns the 100, so what's the problem with 15? And as God blesses you more and you become more prosperous, 20 and 30. And you have to believe God to the point that 10% will more than take care of everything you need in life. Don't you want to get to that point? How much do you think that somebody like Bill Gates lives on? Probably not even 1%. When he gives away those billions, it's because really he can give them away. Because God has to bless you to the point where you can give 99% away and keep one. But that one will be a hefty one. Because some people's one is more than other people's 100. Now you have to believe God that your one will be greater than your 100 today. That's what you believe God for. So progressively you become a giver. Because what you want to say as a Christian is, I give everything. I give everything. I give everything. I give my life. I give my all because I love God and I give him everything. So you work to give. We work to give. So is the tithe our highest standard for giving? No. The tithe is the minimum standard for New Testament Christian. What is the New Testament standard of giving? In the New Testament, we are free to give all we have to honor God. He who is forgiven much loves much. In the New Testament, you don't have a fixed percentage. You don't have a fixed percentage. You have a guideline. The guideline is Your righteousness must exceed that of the Pharisees. So start with 10% upwards. That's New Testament. But you are working yourself up so you can give everything. Wouldn't it be great the day when you receive your salary and you see it in your account and you write a check covering the 100% and give it away and still live? Because these guys who were giving their lands and houses, they didn't die. They didn't become broke. No. They became more prosperous.